Today and tomorrow, I will discuss principles of neonatal resuscitation. It's a big topic. So today we will discuss up to positive pressure ventilation and chest compression, adrenaline administration. These things will be discussed tomorrow. So I will try to show the basic steps over the mannequin, but before that, just gather basic knowledge about the newborn resuscitation. So throughout the presentation, I will try to cover the principles of resuscitation, initial step, positive pressure. This will be covered today, and intubation, chest compression, medication, and some special situations will be discussed tomorrow. And the most controversial topic, when to stop resuscitation in newborn, that will be discussed tomorrow. So the newborns require a different approach in resuscitation than adults. Why? Because adult cardiac arrest is primarily due to existing heart disease. So when circulation to the brain decreases, the victim loses consciousness and stops breathing. But at the time of arrest, usually the oxygen and carbon dioxide content of blood is normal. That's why during adult CPR, the primary focus is in chest compression to maintain the circulation until we can restore the cardiac rhythm by electrical defibrillation or medication. But in case of newborn, most newborns requiring resuscitation, they have a healthy heart, and the problem is due to respiration, inadequate respiratory effort leading to inadequate gas exchange. So before birth, the respiratory function is totally controlled by placenta, and when the placental respiration fails due to any cause of placental insufficiency, the fetus will have hypoxia and hypercarbia. So at that time, there will be decrease in fetal activity, loss of heart rate variability, and there will be deceleration. And if this failure persists, the fetus will make series of gas followed by apnea and bradycardia. Breathing. But if it is born in late phase, then only stimulation will not be sufficient. So we may need to perform assisted ventilation for recovery. And in severely affected newborns, they will require chest compression and adrenaline to allow the compromised heart muscle to restore circulation. So when the baby is born, we may not know whether baby is in early or late phase of respiratory failure. So early phase, we call it primary apnea, and late phase, we call it secondary apnea. And the rule of thumb is, whenever we are faced with a apneic baby at birth, it is taken as secondary apnea. Now, just to show the correlation between apnea and heart rate, the initial period of here, from here starts the placental insufficiency. So baby have few rapid breathing followed by apnea, and during primary apnea there will be fall in the heart rate. Now if the placental insufficiency is not intervened here,
লাগবে না, ছেড়ে দাও। ও তোমার ফোনটা এ করে দেবো।
ব্যাকগ্রাউন্ডে সোনাদা একটু মিউট করে দাও বাকিদের।
করে দিয়েছি।
So if we do not do cannot do intervention here, baby will have few irregular gas followed by secondary apnea. During gasping, there is slight rise in heart rate along with blood pressure. But if hypoxia persists, then heart rate will come down along with hypotension. So there will be both bradycardia and hypotension. So any baby with apnea at birth is to be taken as secondary apnea. Now, the basis of resuscitation guideline is the guideline provided by American Academy of Pediatrics. The last update was done in May 2016, and there are few major changes in the update. Now, birth asphyxia is about birth asphyxia is the reason for about 1/4 of neonatal death. And if we go by the statistics, 90% of newborn make smooth transition from intrauterine to extrauterine life. 10% will require some assistance, and only 1% will require extensive resuscitation like chest compression, intubation, and drug administration. So, if we are well versed with proper technique of positive pressure ventilation, out of 100, 99 babies can be successfully resuscitated with bag and mask ventilation only. 1% or less than 1% will require intubation, chest compression, and drug administration. So, this is the picture showing the fetal circulation and the changes following birth. So, during fetal period, the lungs are actually a fluid filled bag. So, there is little gas exchange. So, oxygenated blood coming from mother via umbilical vein goes to the right side and moves to the left side, and then it gets pumped by aorta, bypassing the lungs. So, during transitional circulation, when the baby starts breathing, the pulmonary resistance decreases and the fluid gets absorbed rapidly. So, blood starts moving towards the pulmonary circulation, and the ductus arteriosus closes, and also the foramen ovale closes. So, this transition, if not smooth, that will lead to multiple problems. Now, so when the baby starts breathing, we clamp the umbilical cord separating the placenta, and newborn starts using the lungs. So fluid in the alveoli gets absorbed, and air in the alveoli causes blood vessel in the lung to dilate. So the pulmonary vascular resistance falls and the pulmonary blood flow increases. So ductus arteriosus gradually constricts. Now, what can go wrong during this period? So, if there is compromise of uterine or placental blood flow, that will lead to deceleration in fetal heart rate, and baby after being born, weak cry leads to inadequate ventilation to push out the alveolar fluid, and in utero hypoxia may lead to passage of meconium in utero, that also may block the airways. So the pulmonary arterioles fails to dilate, and that leads to PPHN. So ultimately the baby will have hypotonia, apnea or tachypnea, bradycardia, hypotension, and cyanosis, as I have mentioned during the primary and secondary apnea comparison picture. So outcome of this newborn can be improved with timely and effective resuscitation. So there are some perinatal risk factors like antepartum and intrapartum. We all know about this, so I am not going into the details. There are many risk factors, so this has to be taken care of while attending a delivery or for newborn resuscitation. So this is the chart that we will discuss throughout. This is the algorithm provided by American Academy of Pediatrics. Now, there is a version, Indian modified version, that is slightly different from the AAP chart. I will show it in the later part. So at birth, you need to see three things: whether baby is calm, good muscle tone, and breathing or crying. So a crying baby is taken as good muscle tone. If answer to these questions are yes, then baby should stay with mother. We need to keep the baby warm and clear airway only if needed. So vigorous suctioning in a crying baby is not required. You need to dry the baby, and you need to do ongoing evaluation for respiratory effort, color, and temperature. Now, if answer to this question is no, that means baby is apneic at birth. So apneic baby is expected to have hypotonia. So apneic or limp baby, initial resuscitation should be done within 30 seconds. So this part is 30 seconds. So we need to provide warmth, maintain temperature, positioning of the airway, clearing of the secretion, dry and stimulate. I will show all these things a little later. Now, after initial steps, we need to evaluate the baby for apnea or heart rate. And if the baby is still apneic or heart rate is less than 100, then we need to start positive pressure ventilation. So we'll focus up to this part. So I am skipping the later discussion. It will be done tomorrow. And this is the chart followed by the NNF, the National Neonatology Forum. They suggest you need to see only whether the baby is breathing or crying. And first 30 seconds, you do initial resuscitation or routine care. Then if the baby is not breathing, then you start positive pressure ventilation. So ultimate aim is to initiate effective positive pressure ventilation not more than 60 seconds after birth. So that is called first golden minute. So if we can initiate effective PPV within 60 seconds of birth, then the damage to the brain can be minimized. And if we go back to previous chart, the previous chart, there are only two levels of care. So either baby stays with mother, or if baby requires resuscitation, baby goes to post resuscitation care in the NICU. But Indian modification suggests three levels of care. One is called routine care, that is for the babies who are breathing at birth. Baby should stay with mother. Another group is observational care. This is for the babies who require brief period of positive pressure ventilation. Brief period means less than 60 seconds of bag and mask ventilation. These babies can be kept in observational care along with mother. And the babies who require chest compression or intubation or adrenaline, these are the candidates for post resuscitation care, that is for NICU. So this modification is useful in our setup because of the limitation of bed in NICU setup. So babies requiring positive pressure ventilation for less than 60 seconds can be kept with mother under observational care. So initial preparation. Now, so initial preparation, first is the warm. So we need to have a newborn designated newborn resuscitation corner, and you have to start the warmer well before the baby delivery. Now warmers have two modes, manual mode and servo control mode. Resuscitation of newborn should be done in manual mode. The difference between manual mode and servo control mode is, in servo mode you can set the temperature, but you cannot control the heater output. So In servo mode, the sensor is put over baby's abdomen or back, and the machine senses the temperature of the baby and increases or decreases heat output depending upon the baby temperature. So usually we set 36.5 to 37 degrees centigrade in NICU. That is called thermoneutral temperature. But in case of newborn resuscitation, we need to use manual mode. There are two indications of using manual mode in a warmer. One is the resuscitation of newborn, and another is rapid rewarming of severely hypothermic baby. The characteristic of manual mode is we can control the heater output, but we cannot set the temperature. So for resuscitation, we need to put the manual mode on with 100% heater output, and labor room temperature should be around 26 to 28 degrees centigrade. Now you have to put 2 towels under radiant warmer for warming, and in case of premature babies, that is less than 32 weeks, we need to have extra plastic bag or plastic wrap. The guideline says in case of babies born less than 32 weeks, we don't need to dry the baby. After delivery, straight away we can put the baby within the plastic wrap to prevent the evaporative heat loss. Then comes to the airway. So for clearing of airway, we need a suction device. The pressure of suction device should not be more than 100. Then comes auscultation stethoscope for heart rate counting. And for ventilation, we need a flow meter 10 liter per minute. And ideally, air oxygen blender should be available in the labor room. Now, in case of term baby, we can start resuscitation in room air. Non-availability of oxygen should not delay the positive pressure ventilation. But if the baby is less than 35 weeks, then we need to have a blender and set the oxygen concentration somewhat little bit higher, that is 21 to 30%. And for ventilation, we need to have positive pressure device. There are 3 types of positive pressure device. One is called flow inflating bag, another is self-inflating bag, and another is T-piece resuscitator. Now, most commonly use the self-inflating bag or AMBU bag. I will show the parts for the PGTs little later. Then comes oxygenation. So you have to have some equipment to give free flow oxygen, and pulse oximeter is mandatory now. And target oxygen saturation table should be there in the labor room. The newborns have specific oxygen target saturation level depending upon the minute of life. And for intubation, we need to have the laryngoscope, blades, and these things. And for medication, 1 in 10,000 adrenaline should be there. So intubation and medication I am skipping because it will not be discussed today. So these are the things we can will discuss tomorrow. So whenever we enter the labor room, we need to ask 4 questions to the obstetrician before the delivery. The gestational age, term or preterm baby, if the membrane has been ruptured, whether the lighter is clear or meconium stain, whether it is single or multiple gestation, and any other risk factors in the mother. Risk factors I have shown in the previous slide can be classified as antepartum and intrapartum risk factors. Now, after this, a baby is born. So initial assessment should be done whether the baby is term, good muscle tone, and breathing or crying. And then we need to follow the algorithm. So if the infant starts crying immediately after delivery, delayed cord clamping should be performed. Now, AAP advises cord clamping in stable infant 30 seconds to 60 seconds, but Indian guideline they say 1 to 3 minutes cord should be cut at 1 to 3 minutes. Temperature should be maintained between 36.5 to 37.5, and focus on thermoregulation should be there throughout resuscitation. So now I am stopping the screen share, and okay. So I'll try to demonstrate for the PGTs. So suppose I have been called by an obstetrician to attend a normal vaginal delivery. So as soon as I enter the labor room, after proper aseptic precaution, I will ask 4 questions to my colleague: whether the baby is term, if the membrane ruptured, then lighter clear or not, that is single or multiple pregnancy, and if there is any risk factors. So suppose a term baby is going to be delivered in next 15 minutes, membrane has been ruptured, lighter clear, single pregnancy, and there is no risk factors. So I have to put the warmer on, spread 2 clean towel, one after another for pre-warming, and I need to do equipment checking. So for equipment checking, we need to have a suction device. So suppose this is the suction device. So this is a NG tube. So suppose this is a suction device. So I have to check the pressure. It should not be more than 100 millimeter of mercury. And remember, during suctioning, we should be very careful not to put the tube deep towards the posterior pharynx, because vigorous suctioning will lead to reflex bradycardia due to vagus stimulation if you accidentally touch the posterior pharynx. So for nose, we should not enter more than 3 centimeter, and for mouth, we should not enter more than 5 centimeter. So my suction device is ready. So first is warm. I have created a warm environment for the baby. For airway, I have made the airway clearing device ready. Then comes auscultation. So I need to have a stethoscope. Oxygen source should be, flow should be around 10 liters per minute. Warm humidified oxygen, ideally blender should be available. So it is a term baby. If oxygen is not available, we can start resuscitation in room air if required. And then comes the ventilation. So for ventilation, you need to have a positive pressure device. The 3 types of positive pressure device, I'll show a comparative slide between the 3, but this is most widely used, most economical, and most easy to use. So we'll limit our discussion to this bag and mask device or self-inflating bag. So there are many parts. So this is the bag proper, and there are valve system. So this here we have a inlet valve which allows air to go in. Huh?
Demonstration is not properly visible on the screen. It is visible on side with your photo side, but it is not coming on the screen.
মায়াদি ডক্টর পার্থ হালদারের ছবিতে ডবল ক্লিক করুন, আপনার কাছে ফুল স্ক্রিন চলে আসবে।
তোমাদের আমাকে দেখা যাচ্ছে তো?
হ্যাঁ, তোমার স্ক্রিনটা ডবল ক্লিক করলেই চলে আসবে। হ্যাঁ, ঠিক, আমি তো পরিষ্কার দেখতে পাচ্ছি ফুল স্ক্রিনে।
বাকিরা সবাই দেখতে পাচ্ছে তো?
দেখতে পাচ্ছি।
স্যার স্ক্রিন শেয়ারিংটা বন্ধ করলে ওই পজ হচ্ছে, আপনার স্ক্রিন থেকে দেখছি বলে। নর্মাল জুমের স্ক্রিনে দেখলে নর্মাল স্ক্রিন শেয়ারিংটা হবে, মানে আপনার স্ক্রিন শেয়ারিং থেকে দেখা যাচ্ছে বলে পজ হয়ে হয়ে আসছে ভিডিওটা।
That's why I'm telling. It's clearly visible হচ্ছে না।
এবার হয়েছে? স্টপ শেয়ার করে দিয়েছি।
হ্যাঁ এবার স্যার নর্মাল আসছে, এবার ঠিক আছে।
আচ্ছা, so this is the back proper and this is called inlet valve. So air can go in, but when you squeeze, air cannot come back. Then there is a safety valve. This prevents barotrauma, and the marking says 40 centimeter of water. So if during squeezing of the bag it goes more than 40 centimeter, these valves get open. So this is safety valve. And here there is another valve complex. So one is expiratory valve that allows the air to go towards the baby. This is fish mouth valve inside. So this allows the air to go inside, go towards the baby. And there is another valve here which prevents mixing of exhaled air to the bag. So there is actually two valves, but we take it as single valve. Now this is the basic parts. There are few modification, like here you can attach a PIP valve, and here you can attach a manometer to check the pressure, but these are not present in most of the device. And during newborn resuscitation we need to use a 250 ml bag is ideal, and other volumes available are 500 and 750. So 250 ml is ideal for newborn resuscitation. And this part is reservoir, and here you can attach a oxygen source. So when we are using this bag alone, we are providing 21% oxygen to the baby. If we attach a oxygen source here, but we don't attach the reservoir, then the oxygen concentration will be around 40 to 60%. And if we attach the bag here along with the oxygen source here, the concentration will be near about 100%. So during chest compression, we need to give 100% oxygen. So these are the basic parts. And this is the mask. So you have term mask and preterm mask. Now attaching and detaching this mask is very important, because most of the time when you are in a hurry, this mask tends to come out. So for PGTs, be very careful, hold the mask like this and put it like this in a rotatory fashion. Now this mask will not come out easily. This is firmly fixed. And during removal also, just make a anti-clockwise rotation and this mask comes out easily. So these are the parts for positive pressure device. And there are two other type of device. One is flow inflating bag, that is mostly used in our OT. The anesthetist mostly used. And another is T-piece resuscitator, that is not widely used. So I have checked all the equipment. Now I am ready for the baby. So the baby gets delivered by vaginal delivery. So now the gynecologist put the baby over mother's abdomen. Now putting the baby over mother's abdomen has some distinct benefit, both for baby and the mother. Now for baby, it promotes early maternal infant bonding, and for mother, and also prevents hypothermia due to skin contact. And for mother, when the baby is put over here, if the baby is crying, baby will move the limbs vigorously. So that will provide tactile stimulation that promotes uterine contraction, placental separation, and decreases the duration of third stage of labor. So putting the baby over mother's abdomen indirectly helps to prevent postpartum hemorrhage. But if it is a cesarean section, then it may not be possible to put the baby over mother's abdomen always because of sterility and other issues. So in that case, we need to put the baby over mother's abdomen till we separate the baby from the mother. Now, when we put the baby over the mother, now we start assessing the baby. The three questions: it's a term baby, baby is breathing, or baby is crying. So crying baby has a good muscle tone. So this is a candidate for routine care. We don't need anything else. So what are the components of the routine care? First is maintain warmth. So putting the baby over mother's abdomen is sufficient to keep the baby warm for some time. Then clear airway if necessary. So if the baby is crying, vigorous suctioning should not be done. Gently wipe the mouth and nose if secretions are coming. And then comes drying. So we need to use the towel that we have put for deworming. So we need to clean the baby by the towel. One towel, discard the wet towel, and by second towel, you should cover the baby and mother and by the second towel. So baby should maintain skin to skin contact. And as the placenta gets delivered, in case of normal delivery, we need to promote breastfeeding as early as possible. So if the baby is crying, whether it's a normal or cesarean section, we are not very much bothered. But if the baby is apneic, then starts the problem. So suppose the normal delivery baby gets delivered and we put it over mother's abdomen. On first assessment, baby is apneic. Apneic baby usually becomes limp, that is hypotonic at birth. So baby is apneic. Now, for apneic baby, we should not wait for 30 seconds or 1 minute to cut the cord. Immediately, we have to cut the cord and separate the baby from the mother to take the baby towards newborn resuscitation corner. Before taking out the baby from the mother, we need to tell the mother that your baby is having some problem to start respiration. We will provide some assistance. Now you cut the cord and take out the baby towards your newborn resuscitation corner. Now very important part, how to hold the baby while taking the baby away from the mother. Now baby should be held like this. দেখা যাচ্ছে সোমনাথ দা?
হ্যাঁ দেখা যাচ্ছে
হ্যাঁ দেখা যাচ্ছে
So baby should be held like this. Now for PGTs, please notice what I am doing. So my two elbows are touching my abdomen. This provides a support. Head of the baby is little bit down compared to the leg, and head of the baby is touching my abdomen. And this hand is for grip. These two hands. So if the accidentally baby slips like this, we can grip the baby like this. So my both elbow to touch my abdomen, head of the baby to touch my abdomen, and head is supported by both my elbows, and also I am supporting the legs by my both hands. Head of the baby is little bit lower than leg. Now, what are the benefit of putting the baby like this? If you put the head a little bit lower, that helps in gravitational drainage of lung fluid. So fluid will accumulate in lungs and you can easily clear it. Number one. Number two, if you touch the head of the baby with your abdomen, that helps to prevent hypothermia because babies are very prone to lose heat from the head. So touching with your body prevents hypothermia. And this hand, in case of accidental slippage, you can grip the baby. So baby should be held like this. You should not put babies in metal tray. That is practiced in many places because metal tray is very cold. Now, by holding the baby like this, I come to my resuscitation corner in the designated place. Now, I should be standing at the head end of the baby. So warmer is on. So now again, stepwise, first is provide warm. So warmer is on. Now baby, I have mentioned baby is apneic. So in case of apneic baby, the thumb rule for resuscitation is no cry, no dry. So if the baby is not crying, we will not dry the baby before clearing the airway. Because if we start drying the baby before clearing of airway, that will provide respiratory stimulus. Baby may start gasping, so all the secretion will go towards lungs. So here this baby is not crying, so I am not drying the baby. I straightway go for clearing the airway. So for clearing the airway, mouth followed by nose, M followed by N. So M comes before N. Suctioning should be done mouth followed by nose. As I have mentioned, we should not enter more than 5 centimeter in mouth and more than 2 to 3 centimeter in nose. Avoid touching the posterior pharyngeal wall to promote reflex bradycardia due to vagal stimulation. So I clear the airway. While clearing, you may gently turn the baby to one side so that secretion comes down to one side. So I clear the mouth followed by nose. So warm is done, clear airway is done. Next come dry. So for drying the baby, drying should be done like this. 1, 2, 3. This sheet is little bit shorter, but so 3 stroke, 1 for head, another for body, another for leg. 3. Then gently hold the baby like this. Support in the neck and by a single stroke, dry the back and remove the wet towel. So you have 2 towels. First towel you have removed. So wet towel we have removed. Now this is a common mistake done during resuscitation. As we get very tense during resuscitation and baby is not crying, many times we forget to remove the wet linen. So baby becomes hypothermic and your resuscitation becomes unsuccessful. So very important, 1, 2, 3. Hold the neck like this and with a single stroke you dry and remove the linen. So this also helps to stimulate the baby to start respiration. So warm, clear airway, dry, these things are done. Next comes stimulate. So if the baby is not crying, even after drying the baby, drying provides a good stimulus, but if the baby is not crying, then you can provide additional stimulus by gently rubbing at the extremities or back, tapping the sole as Tapping the sole has been aborted. So gently rubbing the extremities or back. So many times the older gynecologist tends to do like this. This is strongly condemned. This will do more harm. So this should not be done. Baby should be resuscitated very gently. Now, up to stimulus we have done, but baby is still not breathing. So we have almost completed the initial step. All these things should be done within 30 seconds. We have completed the initial step. Baby is not breathing. So it's time to start positive pressure ventilation. So before starting positive pressure ventilation, we have to reposition the baby, because we have turned the baby like this, we have removed the towel. So most likely the baby's neck have become flexed like this. So you need to put the baby in reposition. Here you can use a shoulder roll to keep the neck of the baby slightly extended. That will help to keep the airway, open. Now standing at the head end, we will start doing positive pressure ventilation. Before starting, when you are starting positive pressure ventilation, you need to have an assistant. Here we need to monitor the heart rate, and also we need to start monitoring oxygen saturation. So ideally 3-lead ECG should be there. So when you are starting bag and mask ventilation, your assistant should put a 3-lead ECG and a pulse oximeter. Now pulse oximeter should be put in right hand to see the preductal saturation, and there is a target preductal saturation based on the minute of life, like 1 minute, 2 minutes, like this. So this should be kept like a poster in the labor room. Now I am trying to show you the positive pressure ventilation. So this is the way we attach the mask. We know that. So mask is already attached here. I have kept everything ready. Now I am going to start positive pressure ventilation. I will tell my assistant, he has put the pulse oximeter here and he has put 3-lead ECG. But as the baby is apneic, you are not expecting a reading in pulse oximeter. Most likely you will not have any saturation reading. You may have heart rate reading in the ECG monitor. In apneic baby, we never count a heart rate because it is just a waste of time. As the baby is apneic, we are not bothered about the heart rate at the beginning. We are only bothered about baby's apneic at initial steps, after initial steps done. So now we'll start doing bag and mask ventilation. Now while putting the mask should be fit like this. So first put the mask over chin, then cover the mouth, and then cover the nose. So from chin, mouth and nose. Mask should not be very big. Avoid covering the eyes. Put it like this. Okay. So I am standing at the head end of the baby and I put the mask like this, covering the chin, mouth and nose. As the baby is term baby, I can start the resuscitation in room air. So I fix the mask like this. Now, if you have one person, then you can fix the mask like this. If you have 2 persons, so you can fix the mask like this also, maintaining the little bit extended posture of the baby, and another person will do bag and mask. So here I am alone, so I am trying to fix the mask like this. Okay, now I start doing positive pressure ventilation. The rhythm should be breathe 2, 3, breathe 2, 3, breathe 2, 3. So if we provide this rhythm, that is equivalent to 40 to 60 breaths per minute. That is the normal respiratory rate in newborn. So we start with breathe 2, 3 sequence. Breathe 2, 3, breathe 2, 3, breathe 2, 3. Now I will do this bag and mask for 15 seconds. 15 seconds. And first assessment will be done after 15 seconds. There can be 3 situations after 15 seconds. The first situation, I can see the chest rise and I can see the heart rate rising in the monitor. That indicates my bag and mask technique is proper. So I will continue for another 15 seconds. So 15 plus 15, at the end of 30 seconds, I will assess the baby. So this is number one situation. Heart rate is rising, chest is also rising. Number two situation, chest is rising, but heart rate is not rising. ECG monitor, the heart rate is not rising, but chest is rising. So if the chest is rising, that indicates your bag and mask technique is proper. So you don't need to do anything. Continue for another 15 seconds. At the end of 15 plus 15, 30 seconds, you check the baby for heart rate and respiration. Many times, as the baby is hypoxic and acidotic, heart rate will take little time to recover once you start ventilating the lung. But if the chest is moving, that indicates your technique is proper. Third situation, that is little bit troublesome situation. Heart rate is not rising and chest is also not rising. Heart rate not rising, chest is not rising. That means your bag and mask technique is improper. So here we need to do ventilation correcting steps. So there are 6 ventilation correcting steps, MRSOPA, MRSOPA. We don't do 6 steps at a time. We do 2 steps at a time. So how we do, I'll show that. So suppose 15 seconds gone, there is no chest rise, and monitor, there is no heart rate rise. So I need to check for M and R. M is for mask, R is for reposition. Mask, suppose it's a term baby, so I have taken a term mask, but it's the IUGR baby. So the mask may be bigger, I may not achieve the adequate seal. So I may need to shift to preterm mask. So I check the mask, and also when I am doing bag and mask, the baby's neck tends to get flexed like this. So I need to reposition the baby. So if you put the shoulder roll, that may help you to some extent. Okay. So I can put the shoulder roll now if I have not given it before. Now after doing M and R, I will give 2 to 3 test breaths just to check whether chest is rising or not. Because 30 seconds initial steps we have done, 15 seconds there is no chest rise, so 30 plus 15, 45 seconds already gone. Our target is to start effective bag and mask within 60 seconds. So we cannot check for 15 seconds again. So 2 to 3 test breaths I need to give to see whether chest is rising. Chest is not rising. So MR done, chest is not rising. Then comes S and O. So I need to do suctioning again. The same rule, mouth followed by nose. After suctioning, I need to open the mouth or open the airway. Then again, I give 2 to 3 tests. Now suppose the chest starts moving. So this is the beginning of effective positive pressure ventilation. This is the beginning of effective positive pressure ventilation. And assessment of baby should be done from 30 seconds now on. So beginning of effective PPV, I will continue that effective PPV for 30 seconds and then I will assess the baby. So my effective PPV has begun. I have done breath 2-3, breath 2-3 for 30 seconds. Now I am going to assess the baby. What can be the situations? So once I start the bag and mask ventilation with positive pressure, lungs get inflated and baby starts crying or baby starts breathing. So what I do, I will withdraw the positive pressure ventilation. But before withdrawing, you need to assess the adequacy of baby's respiratory effort. How will you assess? You have to look at the chest movement and you don't abruptly withdraw the bag and mask. You do like this, breathe 2-3, breathe 2-3-4, breathe 2-3-4-5. So you give 3 or 4 baby is still apneic. Then you have to start coordinated chest compression along with bag and mask ventilation. For that, you need to have another person. One person will do bag and mask and one person will do chest compression. And before going into chest compression, it is better to intubate the baby if expertise is available, because that ensures your lung ventilation is adequate. So we will do that tomorrow. Chest compression, intubation, and drug administration. I think I can stop now. Now, what are the questions? Till now,
Partho?
bag and mask.
পার্থ
হ্যাঁ,
বলছি ডেলিভারির পরে বললি মায়ের কোলের উপরে রেখে দেবো, তখন যদি বাচ্চা মানে অধিকাংশ সময় যে ডেলিভারি করা মানে বের করতে করতে বাচ্চা কেঁদে দেয় অধিকাংশ সময়, যদি বাচ্চা একবার যদি ডেলিভারির সময় মানে লাস্ট মানে হলো কেটে বেরোলো বা মা কোলে দিচ্ছি ওই সময় যদি জাস্ট একবার কেঁদে দেয়, তারপরে আমাকে তো কিছুই করতে হবে না,
তারপরে তো রুটিন কেয়ার। বেবিটা মায়ের অ্যাবডোমেনে থাকলো, বেবিটা ট্রাই করছে, আমি দেখে নিলাম অ্যাডিকুয়েসি অফ রেসপিরেশন, তারপরে আমি ক্লিয়ার এয়ারওয়ে ইফ নেসেসারি, মানে জাস্ট একটা গজ দিয়ে করলাম, ড্রাই করলাম, এবারে বেবিটাকে আর মাদারকে সিঙ্গেল টাওয়েল দিয়ে কভার করলাম। আর এনএনএফ এর গাইডলাইনে বলছে ইফ দ্য বেবি ইজ ক্রাইং তাহলে কাটিং শুড বি ডিলেড ফর 1 to 2 মিনিটস, 1 থেকে 3 মিনিটের মধ্যে আমাকে কট কাটিং করতে হবে। হ্যাঁ, আর এএপি বলছে 30 to 60 সেকেন্ডস। সো মোটামুটি আমরা 1 মিনিটে কট কাটিং করতে পারি।
এবার এই যে বাচ্চাটা কাঁদবে, এই কান্নাটার জন্য কতক্ষণ ওয়েট করব আমরা?
কোনটা? কান্নার জন্য ওয়েট করব না তো, এটা তো বেবি ডেলিভারি হলো, যখনই ডেলিভারি হলো ফার্স্ট অ্যাসেসমেন্ট আমি তখনই করছি, ইট শুড বি ইমিডিয়েট। এবারে যে কাঁদছে সে তো বেরোনোর সাথে সাথেই কাঁদছে, মোস্ট অফ দ্য টাইমস যখন হেডটা বেরিয়ে আসে তখনই কাঁদতে শুরু করে।
হ্যাঁ
হ্যাঁ, এবারে যখনই হেডটা বেরোনোর পরে বডিটা বেরোতে তো ফিউ সেকেন্ডস, বডিটা বেরোলো, বাচ্চাটাকে এইভাবে রাখলাম, তখনই আমার ফার্স্ট অ্যাসেসমেন্ট তখনই শুরু হলো। এবার আমি দেখছি বেবিটা কাঁদছে, তাহলে আমার আর কিছু করার দরকার নেই, জাস্ট হাইপোথার্মিয়া প্রিভেনশন আর বেবিটাকে মায়ের উপরে রেখে
না, অনেক সময় যেটা হয় যে এমনি কাঁদলো না, এবার তখনই কি করে গাইনোকোলজিস্ট তাড়াতাড়ি কর্ডটা কেটে তোর হাতে দিয়ে দেয়, যেই না হাতে চলে যায় তখনই কাঁদতে শুরু করে দেয়। অনেক সময় হয়েছে মানে নিয়ে যেতে কাঁদতে শুরু করে দেয়, তখন তো আমাকে রুটিন কাজ ছাড়া কিছুই করতে হবে না।
না, বেবিটা যখন বেরিয়েছে এখানে তো তোমার প্লাসেন্টাটার সাথে লেগে আছে,
হ্যাঁ
বেবিটাকে তোমাকে মায়ের অ্যাবডোমেনে রাখতেই হবে, নালে তো
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ
কাটবে কি কর্ডটা ক্ল্যাম্প করে বেবিটাকে আমাকে সেপারেট করতে হবে মায়ের থেকে।
হ্যাঁ
এই যে টাইমটা, এর মধ্যে যদি কাঁদলো তাহলে আমি ওয়েট করব, এর মধ্যে যদি না কাঁদলো আমি ইমিডিয়েট কর্ডটা কেটে বেবিটাকে সেপারেট করে আমার রিসাসিটেশনের জায়গায় নিয়ে গিয়ে এবার পরপর স্টেপগুলো আমি ফলো করব।
আচ্ছা, এবার ধরে ওই কর্ডটা কেটে তোর হাতে দিল, তুই টেবিলের দিকে গেলি, অনেক সময় আমি দেখেছি, আমি যদিও খুব কম সিজার অ্যাটেন্ড করেছি, অনেক সময় যেতে যেতেই কেটে ফেলে, তাহলে তো আবার রুটিন কেয়ারে ব্যাক করে যাবো।
তাহলে রুটিন কেয়ার কিছু করার দরকার নেই, জাস্ট বেবিটাকে ড্রাই করে যদি মনে হয় সাকশনিং দরকার করলাম, আর বাকি জাস্ট রুটিন কেয়ার করে আর
মানে
কিছু
বাচ্চা
করার-
কেটে যখনই যেই পয়েন্টে কেটে দেবে সেই পয়েন্ট থেকে রুটিন কেয়ার, না কাঁদলে তখন পর হলো। ঠিক আছে
পার্থ, আমি দুটো কথা একটা হচ্ছে তুই পজিশনিংটা বললি, পজিশনিংটা স্টুডেন্টদের অনেক সময় পরীক্ষায় জিজ্ঞেস করে, মানে ফ্লেক্সও হবে না, হাইপার এক্সটেনশন হবে না, ওইটাকে কি নাম বলে, সেটাকে স্নিফার্স পজিশন বলে।
Sleeping
এটা
position,
স্টুডেন্টদের কিন্তু
sleeping
পরীক্ষায়
position,
জিজ্ঞেস করে।
মর্নিং স্লিপার, মর্নিং
আরেকটা হচ্ছে
neck should not be like
আরেকটা
this.
হচ্ছে আর ফ্লেক্সও না।
হ্যাঁ,
আরেকটা
মর্নিং
হচ্ছে
মর্নিং
যখন-
স্লিপিং পজিশন। সকালবেলায় মর্নিং ওয়াক
আরেকটা
করতে গেলে
হচ্ছে-
অনেক
যখন মাছটা দিলি, ভার্বস অ্যাসেম্বলি গুলোর মধ্যে কোথাও লিক আছে, কিছু আছে কিনা সেইটা চেক করে দেখার জন্য অনেক সময় যখন তুই ব্যাক্স মাছটাকে দিবি তখন প্রেসার ফিল করবি, যদি প্রেসার ফিল না করিস
এটা
বুঝতে পারবি তোর
আগে আমি জাস্ট এরকম চেক করছি যখন প্রেসার ফিল করব, আর এই যে সেলফ ইনফ্লেশন, এটা ভেরি
হ্যাঁ,
ইম্পর্টেন্ট।
হ্যাঁ,
এটাকে বারবার
very
অটোক্লেভ করলে এই সেলফ ইনফ্লেশন প্রপার্টিটা নষ্ট হয়ে যায়, তখন কিন্তু ব্যাক করে আর তখন ওটাকে বাতিল করতে হবে,
হুম।
অটোক্লেভ করলে নষ্ট হয়ে যাবে।
এটাও কিন্তু চেক করা হয়।
হরটা কত সেন্টিমিটার দূরে কাটবো? হরটা কত সেন্টিমিটার দূরে কাটবো আম্মালির কাছ থেকে?
এটা
শোনা যাচ্ছে না।
হরটা কত সেন্টিমিটার দূরে কাটবো?
আচ্ছা, এখানে মায়ের থেকে 2 to 3 সেন্টিমিটার।
এটা 2 to 3 সেন্টিমিটার। তখন মাপার যদি সুবিধে না থাকলে করা হয় কি, হাতের 4টে আঙুল এরকম করে দেয়া হয়।
ওই মানে অ্যাপ্রক্সিমেটলি 2-3 সেন্টিমিটার বলে, 2 to 3 সেন্টিমিটার।
2 to 3 সেন্টিমিটারে?
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ
কারণ অনেক সময় একটু ইন্টেস্টিন ঢুকে যায় বলে একটু সব রাখতে হয়।
হ্যাঁ, ভাইটো ইন্টেস্টাইনাল ডাক্টটা যেতে পারে।
প্লাস অনেক সময় যখন আমরা কোনো কারণে আম্বালিক্যাল ক্যাথেটারাইজেশন করি ফর এক্সচেঞ্জ ট্রান্সফিউশন, তো তখন
সেজন্য
আমাদের
একটু cord রাখতে হয়।
কাটতে হয়, একটু কর্ডটাকে কেটে তারপরে আবার আমরা ভেইনটা দেখতে পাই। রাইট
ওটা কালকে দেখাবো। ওই যেটা অ্যাড্রিনালিন অ্যাডমিনিস্ট্রেশন নিউবর্ন পিরিয়ডে তো আইভি অ্যাক্সেস একমাত্র আম্বিলিক্যাল ভেনাস অ্যাক্সেসই করা পসিবল শর্ট টাইমে, তো ওইটা কালকে ওই পার্টটা কালকে বলবো।
তবে ওই হিটিং ফেলিয়ারটা, মানে ওই রিসাসিটেটরের হিটিং ফেলিয়ার, আইদার ওভার হিটিং অর আন্ডার হিটিং কিংবা হিটিং হচ্ছে না, সেটা দেখাটা কিন্তু খুব বেশি
হ্যাঁ, খুব ইম্পর্টেন্ট, খুব ইম্পর্টেন্ট।
I have been faced with situation যে যেখানে আমি বলছি যে হিটিং হচ্ছে না, আর নার্স বলছে যে না হিটিং হচ্ছে, এই তো টেম্পারেচার দেখাচ্ছে, কিন্তু বিকজ অফ মাই নো হেয়ার ইন দ্য স্কাই ইট ওয়ার্কস অ্যাজ এ ভেরি গুড সেন্সর যে কতটা হিটিং হচ্ছে। তো আমি বললাম যে না হচ্ছে না, তারপরে বেবিটা হাইপোথার্মিয়া হয়ে গেল। তো এই হিটিংটা ইজ ভেরি ভেরি,
অবজেকশনরা এসি বন্ধই করতে চায় না, অবজেকশনরা তো এসি বন্ধই করতে চায় না, তো রেডিয়েন্ট ওয়ার্মারের নিচে করা হয় যে আছে, ঠিক আছে, তো এসি বন্ধই করতে চায়।
এক্সট্রিমলি গুড। তুই যে এতক্ষণ ধরে ধৈর্য ধরে স্টেপ বাই স্টেপ প্রত্যেকটা বলেছিস এবং স্লোলি এন্ড স্টেডিলি, দ্যাট ইজ ভেরি ভেরি গুড।
আর এমআরসিপি এর ফুল ফর্মটাও জিজ্ঞেস করে পরীক্ষায়, এই এমআর সোপার ফুল ফর্মটাও পরীক্ষায় জিজ্ঞেস করে।
হ্যাঁ, ওগুলো একটু বলে দেবো, আমি কতগুলো স্লাইড আছে
পিজিটিদের জন্য এটা কিন্তু ওরাল প্র্যাকটিক্যালে টেবিলে ব্যাক মার্কস দেয়া থাকে। নিওটা রিসাসিটেশন কিন্তু একখানা টেবিল, এমডি এবং ডিসি সবারই জন্য একটা টেবিল, কিন্তু এটা রুটিন থাকবেই।
স্যার ওই মেকোনিয়াম স্টেন্ট লাইকারে ওর সাকশন করা হবে কিনা এই ব্যাপারটা?
মেকোনিয়াম স্টেন লাইকারের সিনারিওটা ওটা কালকে বলবো। জাস্ট ফর মানে ব্রিফ ডিসকাশন বলে দিচ্ছি যে আগে যেটা ছিল মেকোনিয়াম স্টেনিং বেবি ইফ দ্য বেবি ইজ নন ভিগোরাস, মানে অ্যাপনিক বেবি। আগে যেটা ছিল এএপি এন্ডোর্স করেছিল যে ইউ নিড টু ইনকিউবেট দ্য বেবি এন্ড ডু সাকশন টু রিমুভ দ্য ইন্টারট্রাকিয়াল মেকোনিয়াম, কিন্তু লাস্ট এডিশনে দ্যাট হ্যাজ বিন অ্যাবর্টেড। এখন ইউ শুড ডু জাস্ট লাইক নর্মাল রিসাসিটেশন, মাউথ ফলোড বাই নোজ ফলোড বাই পজিটিভ প্রেসার ভেন্টিলেশন। কারণ দেখা গেছে দেয়ার ইজ নট মাচ ডিফারেন্স, and when you try to do repeated intubation that will cost you vital time, as well as if you are not well versed with intubation তোমার এয়ারওয়ে ড্যামেজ হতে পারে। সো যখন বেবিকে নেক্সট টাইম অ্যাকচুয়ালি ইনকিউবেট করার দরকার হবে ইট মে বিকাম ডিফিকাল্ট। সো মেকোনিয়াম স্টেন বেবিতে জাস্ট লাইক নর্মাল বেবি সেম জিনিস আমরা করব। if the baby is not crying after suctioning, still go to positive pressure ventilation.
ল্যারিঞ্জিয়াল মাস্কটা কি তুই কালকে বলবি?
হ্যাঁ, ল্যারিঞ্জিয়াল মাস্ক আছে, ওটা আমি কালকে দেখাবো। ওটা ইনসারশন। হ্যাঁ,
ঠিক আছে।
আর অ্যাপনিয়া ছাড়া কি স্যার আর কর্ড তাড়াতাড়ি কাটার কোনো ইন্ডিকেশন আছে?
না, অ্যাপনিয়া ছাড়া কর্ড তাড়াতাড়ি কাটার ফর নাও আর কোনো ইন্ডিকেশন নেই। টার্ম বেবি বা প্রিটার্ম বেবি বোথ ইউ ক্যান ওয়েট ফর 30 seconds to 1 minute, যেটা the main fear of cutting the cord little bit later, যে আমি কর্ডটাকে যদি হয়তো আমি 2 মিনিট 3 মিনিট পরে কাটলাম, so what is the main problem? যে আমি একটু বেশিক্ষণ কর্ডটা রেখে দিলে, so that will lead to polycythemia. So the physiological jaundice at day 3 or day 4 that can be exacerbated. So এইটা নিয়ে কন্ট্রোভার্সি ছিল যে কর্ডটা আমরা কখন কাটবো, বিকজ আমেরিকান একাডেমি দে আর টেলিং 30 seconds to 60 seconds, আর ইন্ডিয়াতে বলছে
1 মিনিট। ঠিক আছে, ঠিক বল 1 মিনিট।
না, এটারও একটা এক্সপ্লেনেশন আছে, বিকজ ইন্ডিয়ান পপুলেশন মাদার্স আর জেনারেলি অ্যানিমিক কম্পেয়ার টু আমেরিকান পপুলেশন। সেই জন্য বেবির ক্ষেত্রেও আয়রন স্টোর উইল বি লেস, কারণ বেবিটা যখন ব্রেস্ট ফিড করবে মাদার্স আর অ্যানিমিক বিফোর হ্যান্ড, তো বেবির ক্ষেত্রে ফিজিওলজিক্যাল অ্যানিমিয়াটা প্রলং আরো বেশি সিভিয়ার হতে পারে। সো প্রিভেন্ট দ্যাট if you cut the cord at 1 minute or 2 minutes, so that helps to prevent that anemia to some extent.
আর RH নেগেটিভ মাদার হলে কোনো অসুবিধা নেই তো স্যার?
RH নেগেটিভ মাদারেও কোনো অসুবিধা নেই।
আচ্ছা,
RH নেগেটিভ মাদারের ক্ষেত্রে আমরা কর্ডটা একটু বড় রাখি, কারণ পরে যদি
এক্সটেন্স ট্রান্সফিউশনের জন্য। হ্যাঁ, ঠিক আছে।
ওকে পার্থ, থ্যাংক ইউ।
বাকিটা কালকে।